Hi everybody, it's Ala from Cartoons Ahead, and here is what I made for prompt 11 of Junk Journal July UK, Layers on Layers. First is just a mixed media piece, and on the second page we have a floating pocket with, let's take it out just a little bit, there we go, with just this fun interactive flap of different sorts of papers. Stay tuned for a process video, and as always, thumbs up, comments, subscription, they're all very much appreciated. Thank you for coming here today, and let's get crafty. Here we go! I started my work with some gel medium, and I just took one of my brushes and spread the gel medium generously on a book page. This is going to be one of my many layers. It's layers and layers, so have to have some layers. I just wanted to make sure that all the edges and corners were properly glued down. I could have used any type of, what's it called? Medium, basically, for this step, like matte medium, or even, I think, boring medium. I don't know. They're basically like glues. But I wanted to use something that I could also spread on top of this napkin to seal it down. So that's why I chose this instead of just dry glue, or wet glue, or glue stick, or anything like that. I think you could also spread like watery wet glue on this, but I happen to have gel medium, so that's what I'm using. The brand is 13 Arts, but once again, that's just something I happen to have. While I was waiting for that piece to dry, I took some more book page and I made a pocket simply by folding the bottom edge up. Then I started collaging on the pocket piece. I'm not sure if I actually did anything on the... No, I don't think I did anything for the top. I just collaged on the flap. Like so. I'm using some really neutral papers. This creates, once again, more layers, which is the theme for today, but it also gives some strength, because every piece that I add is another layer. There I had some, I think it's just coffee dyed paper that I had stamped on in the past, so I added some of that. You can use so many things for this, and it really doesn't have to be fancy. This is just the first step. You can add all sorts of embellishments on top of it. You could take like a stamped colored image, or regular ephemera, or fuzzy guts, whatever your heart desires. I think even different sorts of die cuts would be great for this. But this is just, I think, a fun process and a great way to get rid of some scraps as well. Here you can see me using some of the collage fodder that I've made earlier during this challenge. I think it was day 5, perhaps. Yes, I had to check. So yes, that was from day 5. I'm trying to use the things that I've made, the extra pieces and so on, during this challenge. And like here, I'm just working with my scraps. The piece that I'm gluing on right now is one where I just took some coffee dyed paper, just a scrap piece of it, and I cleaned my stencil on top of it. So I think it was black ink, maybe some brown too. So that was the result that I got. So I just save it all, basically, and try to use it as well. Then I flipped my piece around and just took a few of these really regular, neutral, standard pages or pieces of paper. Again, just scraps and yes, it's coffee dyed paper. This will make it sturdier, and if you want to have spots to journal on, this is one option for that. Because the book page itself, it's a bit flimsy, and not only that, it's also hard to write on. I mean, the page that I was using, it was basically white at the top, but the old book page, it doesn't really matter what you write on it with, except if you're using like lead pencil. It will show through, especially in time. So that's just one option to make it a little bit more flexible, I guess, so that it's suitable for multiple ways. Then I just trimmed the excess off. As I'm gluing just the wear warning, I've been doing this daily for now, but I think that here soon I will have to miss a few days. I'm going on a little bit of a vacation, so I don't think I'll be able to get all of the videos done, sadly. It's possible that I do them next month and get back to it or something, but I don't know. And I don't know how many days I will miss either, but I will probably miss a few. And I apologize. Oh my goodness, I apologize for that. Here I'm just trying to figure out my placement, because I wanted to add this little arrangement of things to decorate with, and I chose to take some washi tape as well. So once again, adding layers, layers on top of layers. That is also, or both of these pieces are from day 5, from the collage fodder video. So I'm making use from all of them. The paper is kind of flimsy, so I started from the flimsiest end of it and then came towards my fingers. That makes it a little bit easier, because once the paper gets wet, it also starts curling quite easily. I'm just trying to figure out what way I want to put everything, or which way. And then I glued down the prompt, and finally the little hand-drawn box. There we go. Then my next layer was some acrylic paint. Here I used it pretty much like a paste. I just put it on through the stencil and I think I left it quite thick. And that gave me quite a clear impression. It doesn't look like so, perhaps, on the video, but it's quite clear. I also added some on top. Here I wanted a more subtle result, which caused a bit of a mess, to be honest. I just left those for a scrap piece of paper. Once again, because I wanted to do some stamping, I took the VersaFine Clair Fallen Leaves, which is a super dark brown, and I just did some stamping here and there. That's yet another layer done. And then I just tried it a little bit. And now I'm ready for the acrylic paste layer. The problem is that I kept on spreading the paint over and over again, trying to get it thin, which ended up me actually pushing the paint under the stencil, so the result is not clear, which is okay. It's mixed media, it can be a little bit messy, nothing wrong with that. But if I had really wanted to make it clear and to make the images show a little bit more, I could have just dabbed it on with my finger, just taking a little bit of paint like I did on that top paper on my little cluster that I just put into the bucket. Or not a cluster, but notebook. I don't know. So yes, there are ways to make it more see-through. There are ways to make it more thin and more precise. Here I started to rip some of the edges off because I wanted it to be like so. But at this point I figured that I should probably try how big my pieces need to be or can be so that they still fit in my little journal. This pocket was a little bit big for the page where I had planned to put it on, but I didn't really mind because I already knew that I would just paper clip it on, because tomorrow's prompt was paper clips. So I thought it would be fun to have a paper clip on there already. So that wasn't an issue. It wasn't planned really, but it's not an issue. We make things work. But this piece I decided that I needed to tear a little bit smaller. And here comes the other or next piece. I also did some collage on some packaging, and I got a circle out of there to put in the center of my die cut. And I'm going to use that in another video as a frame. So the rest of my collage piece is not going to waste, and that's why I intentionally did the die cutting in the center, because now I have a frame. Then I took that flower from my Heartful Hodgepodge kit. It's a printable in my coffee. I will try to link it down below, or my shop, because the particular kit is available in both A4 and letter size. So yes, they are both in my shop, so I will just link the shop down below. Then I glued my background collage piece on top of my die cut frame, and then wanted to have the flower on it, but I also decided to bring on some cheesecloth just for some extra detail. I put quite a generous amount of glue on that flower, and then I just pressed it down on the cheesecloth quite firmly. That way I could assure that the cheesecloth was glued down as well. Because it's a little bit hard to glue it down on its own. But now it's firmly down between those two layers of paper. Here I'm just putting everything together like so. Those frames are always a little bit hard to glue, but luckily I've got my precision glue bottle, which helps a lot with tiny details like that. Then it was time to put the page back into my journal so that I could really assemble the spread, which is just putting a paper clip on it. Here we go. That's the page done, or a spread done. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it gave you some new ideas or reminded you of some old tricks. Thank you so much for joining me today, and hopefully I will see you again tomorrow. Here's a final look, and with that I wish you a nice day. Bye bye.